guess you could say true crime, even though no one ever got charged or anything, but just a couple scary things that have happened to me growing up that I thought were perfect for this season. I apologize for being gone. I still have fun things planned for spooky season and some pre-recorded videos, but those will probably be out in the first week of November, since this is not going up until the 29th of October. I had midterms, and then I got sick, and then my dad got COVID, so it has been a very hectic month. But here I am, and I am still so excited for spooky season. Halloween is coming up, and I have not forgotten about you all. I still have those surprise videos coming up, and I am so excited. But we will go ahead and get into the stories. First, I thought of a story from when I was about 11 or 12. For those of you who don't know, I swam competitively for 17 years. I was on a club swim team, and my best friend from the swim team has a twin brother. So it was me, my best friend, her twin brother, and his friend. So there were 4 of us, and we went to her house for a summer cookout after swim practice one day. So we're just sitting around in her living room talking, and her brother wants to go to the lake that's by their house. And so the boys get on skateboards, and us girls get 2 bikes from their garage, and we go to the lake, and we're just playing around. There were some kayaks that no one was using, so we kayaked a little bit, and we notice by the lake there's so here's the lake, and here's this driveway type thing, and here is the neighborhood with all the houses. So you have to kind of walk through this little lot to get back to this neighborhood. And there's a white van that pulls up and sits in that little parking lot and just starts watching us. And so we're that's weird. And it's about an hour away from sunset at this point. And so we're we're gonna go back. So we start walking back. We walk past the van, nothing, and we just, mind our business, walk by. But it pulls out, the van pulls out after we're walking on the street, and it felt it's clearly following us, you know what I mean? It's not speeding up enough to pass us, but it's not losing us, it's kind of staying right there. And so we're that's weird. So we don't go back to her house. We loop around the neighborhood, and we're on bikes, by the way. The boys are keeping up on their skateboards. So we kind of pick up the pace, and we're biking around. The boys are behind us, and we just do a lap around the neighborhood. The van is still there. So my friend calls her dad, and her dad works 45 minutes away, and he was about to get off work, so he was okay, I'll be home soon. And so he says he's bringing pizza and to go back to the house, lock the doors, whatever. And we go back to the house. He appears to not be following us anymore. We don't see the van, right? So we're in the house. Her dad gets home. We're eating pizza, watching TV. He brought some ice cream, so we eat some ice cream. And it's dark at this point. It's summertime, so it's probably 9 o'clock or so, getting dark, right? And I don't comes pulling up when we're out there for about 15 minutes. Bingo. The van pulls up, and my friend and I stand up as soon as we see it come around the corner. But this time he wasn't slow. He pulls up across the street, gets out of his driver's side, gets out of the driver's side and starts walking very quickly towards me and my friend. And so her brother and brother's friend are like, oh my gosh. And so they grab us and we run into the house. They slam the garage door shut and we're screaming for her dad. And this man is just out there banging on the garage door, saying he's just trying to sell us something. He just wants to talk to us. Banging on the door. And me and my friend are we're 11, so we're crying. And her dad, instead of going out the garage door, opening the garage door, he goes out the front door and gets on the phone with the police. And as soon as the man sees her dad, he gets in his car and books it. No more talking. Gets in his car, leaves. And nobody ever followed up with us about that. I know he did file a police report, gave him a description. I don't believe he got the license plate in time. I think he maybe got half of the license plate or something, which is unfortunate, but what can you do? So that is my first spooky thing that happened to me. The next one is one that happened on vacation. I was in Texas. I was in Texas with my best friend at the time from school. So we were in San Antonio, and our hotel was on the Riverwalk. I don't know if you have ever been to San Antonio or seen pictures. It's very beautiful, but our hotel was on the Riverwalk, and in this hotel, so the hotel was on top, and then right below the hotel, there was a mall. So if you were in the hotel lobby, you could get on the elevator and just go down and go to the mall, because it was right underneath of it. And we're probably 14 or 15, I want to say, at the time. And this probably wasn't safe, but my friend and I would wander around by ourselves. So it's probably 6 or 7, not too late, and we decide to go to the mall and explore. So we're exploring, and we find our way to the very back of the mall. And after finding our way to the back, we see a set of escalators, but they're not running. Also, excuse this, I got some paint on my watch band. I was painting pumpkins with some of my friends, and it's acrylic paint, so it's not coming off. But anyways, we see a set of escalators, and they're not running. They're kind of secluded, it's really random, just in the back of the mall. And there's only, if there's a multiple floor mall, the escalator will go to all of those different floors. It was only for that floor and the floor above, so it was one going up and then one from that floor up there coming down to the floor we were on. But again, they weren't running, so we're that's weird. So we go up them even though they're not running, so we figured we weren't supposed to. We were just nosy. So we get to the top of the escalators, and it's completely empty up there. It was dark, the lights were off, and it looked like a part of the mall that must have been under construction, because things were marked off, doors were locked, and so we're still nosy doors. So we just keep walking, and we get our flashlights out and just keep walking around. And we hear a thud in one of the rooms that is like marked off. It didn't have doors on it. It was like a double door, but there were no doors. And it was this big open room. It looked like it could have been a theater or something. I don't know. But we hear a thud come from in there. And so we look at each other and we're like, what could that have been? And we see a person get up from the corner of this room. Like, we shine our light and there's a person like getting up from the corner of the room, and he seems scared of us since like our light came on. But once he sees that it's us, he gets up and he's like, hey, wait a second. And we're like, and so we back out of the room, and I guess he like had a light of his own, so he gets a flashlight and points it at us, and he's like, hey, wait. And we're like, nope. And so we turn around and start walking very fast back towards the escalator, and he's running at this point, and he runs up behind us and he tries to grab my friend's like elbow, like that, just tries to grab her elbow. But we are like on the escalator at this point, running down. They're not working, so we're having to manually like run down the escalator. But he grabs her arm and she like shoves him off, and I'm like, who are you? And I am not a mean person, okay? But when I feel threatened or harassed, I get very sassy. Like, I don't like that. And so I start yelling at him. I'm like, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? You're not even supposed to be up here. Like, you creep. And he's like, he didn't look like he was supposed to be up there. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if it was a construction worker, but I'm pretty sure it was like a squatter, which is as far as I know, it's a homeless person that finds abandoned places to live. And so I don't want to assume things, but just by looking at him, that is what I presume. He was dirty. He hadn't shaved in a long time. It's really sad. He looked malnourished. But he's trying to grab up on me and my friend, so I didn't feel sorry for him in the moment. So he tries to grab her, and I'm like yelling at him. We're almost down the escalators. And so she's like swatting at him. I'm like swatting at him, like pushing at him, like get back, get back. And we get down to the main like floor, and there's other people around at this point. And even though there's other people around, this man has no shame. We're walking, and like holding hands. My friend and I are holding hands at this point. And he's still behind us saying like really gross things to us, like, come back up here with me, like, I can give you girls a good time, like, just really creepy stuff. And he does some really inappropriate hand signals. I have a younger audience, I believe, for some of you, so I will not go into detail, but he was saying some very vulgar things and acting out some very vulgar things with his hands. And so my friend and I are scared. We just want to be left alone. And so we go into a store and we get the front desk guy. We're like, hey, this dude's harassing us. And he's like, who? And the man had not followed us into the store. Instead, he was sitting on a bench right outside the store, glaring at us. And we're like, that man right there. And so he's like, okay, I'll call security. Luckily, security was not that far away. So security comes, and I guess he didn't realize security was coming for him. So when they go to escort him out, he like has a mental breakdown. He starts like screaming, cussing at us. He's like, F you, like I didn't do anything. And we're like, oh. And so this front desk man was very nice. He walked my friend and I back to the hotel, and we went back to our room and minded our business for the rest of the night. But that was very happens too. Let's see what other craziness has happened. This next story is probably the one that I remember most vividly, even though this one happened the longest time ago. It happened when I was in 5th grade. We took a field trip to the mountains. It was about 4 hours away from my school, and I went to a very tiny private school. So there was only about 20 students that went on this trip, and we went on this big bus, and like I said, about 4 hours away in the mountains. There was no life around the mountains that we were staying in. Was about 45 minutes away from any city or place. So they were telling us to be extra careful. We had lots of chaperones in case anything happened. But again, it was in the mountains, and there were like camp counselors. But basically, they had taken, so the land started off as a Native American plot of land, and so like the Native Americans lived there for a long time and established certain landmarks there. And then other people came in and I guess took over that area. I'm not fully educated on the history, but I know that it was then taken over by a group of settlers. And so they built cabins and they made like a village. So there were cabins and a hospital and stuff like that. And well, fast forward to the 2000s, I guess history people got a hold of it when nobody was no longer living there, and they turned it into this like camp type thing. And the place that we were staying was in the hospital. So they had taken this abandoned hospital and made it into like a hotel, even though it was still set up like hospital rooms. It was really weird. It was kind of sketchy, but it made for an interesting field trip, right? And I think the creepiest part, one, it's very creepy that there was probably a lot of history there, considering the Native Americans were there and then people came and took over, and just there was probably a lot of violence that took place in that land. And also, the hospital still had the morgue in the basement, which they had like boarded it off, and it was not reachable to us anymore. But I think it's really creepy that they didn't take the bodies out. Anyways, I don't know if that was something the counselors told us just to scare us or what, but yeah. Anyways, fast forward to the creepy part. So, we are divided into groups of 2, boys and girls. The boys sleep on the 2nd floor of the hospital, and the girls are on the 1st floor, the ground floor. And we are divided into pairs of 2, and I slept with a girl. I will call her Brooke for privacy's sake, so we'll say her name's Brooke. So Brooke and I are sharing a room, and her mom is in the room. She got a room to herself. Her mom came along as a chaperone, and she was in the room next door. So we go to bed. I shower right before bed. It's like 10 o'clock. We're settling into our rooms. I go to sleep. Brooke gets up, locks the door, goes to sleep in her bed. There were 2 twin beds in the room. So I get mine, she gets in hers. We go to sleep. I wake up, and there is something below me. And so I'm very startled. I'm like, I shoot up, and I'm like, hello? Because it felt warm, like it was like a lump. And then I hear someone go, Jessie, what are you doing in my bed? And I was so scared that I like flailed out of the bed I'm in another bed, and I recognize my friend's voice, and so I say her name. I'm like, what are you doing in my room? And she's like, Jess, you're in my room. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I get up and turn the light on, and she was in a room with two other girls. There was a bunk bed, and there was another bed against the back wall that she was sleeping in. And I woke up in her bed on top of her, even though I went to sleep in my room beside Brooke. And the creepy thing is, our rooms were all the way down the hall. So, like, my room, her room. So somehow I got all the way down the hall through this locked door into her locked bedroom and into her bed, and woke up randomly on top of her. I was like, what? And so I was so scared. Like, she thought it was hilarious, but I was so scared that I like couldn't go back to my room. And she was like, you can just sleep in my bed. And so it was a really uncomfortable 3 more hours. We were woken up at 7. So it was a very tight fit in that bed for 3 more hours. I don't think I really fell back to sleep. I was so scared. And at 7 o'clock, my friend's mom is like yelling in the hallway. And so we're about to open the door. My friend and I wake up, and we're about to open the door, and she bursts in, and she grabs me by the arm, and she's like, oh my gosh, you scared all of us. What are you doing in here? And I'm like, girl, I don't know. Like, I was so confused. I was like, I am just as confused as you. And she was like, did you go outside last night? And I was like, no. Like, what are you talking about? And she is like angry, right? And she pulls me into the hallway, and she had been the first one to wake up, right? And so she wakes up, and she goes into her daughter's room to wake up her daughter and I. She wakes up her daughter. I'm not in there. They both are freaked out, so they go into the hallway, and immediately they notice that the front door to the hospital is open. The camp counselors will lock it every night because, again, we're in the middle of nowhere. That is so dangerous. Anything could come inside. So the front door is open, and there are footsteps, like muddy footsteps, because it had been raining, from like outside into the house, into the friend's room that I had ended up in, right? And so she's like, and they got my shoes, like my shoes were in that friend's room, and they were muddy. And so she's like, you went outside, and I was like, no, I didn't. Like, I went to bed and woke up in my friend's bed. That's all I know. And the creepiest thing is, I've never had a history of sleepwalking. I didn't before that night, and I haven't since. Like, never had a history of sleepwalking. Nothing weird has ever happened in my sleep. I don't talk in my sleep. I'm a restless sleeper. Like, my mom used to not let me sleep with her during storms because I would kick her in my sleep. But, like, not sleepwalking, you know what I mean? And especially not unlocking and opening doors, and just, it was so creepy. But the creepiest part is, they went outside to look, like, for footprints to see, like, where I went. I still don't think I went outside, but it is so weird that my shoes were in my friend's room and they were muddy, but wouldn't I have woken up to take them off? It's so weird. But the thing that creeps me out is the footprints outside lead right to the edge of the mountain. Like, we're in the mountains, guys. This hotel is in the mountains. So you step outside, you go down the front steps, and there's a trail. And if you don't turn when that trail turns, there's a watching, if you're not asleep, if you're not bored, I wanted to ask. I was debating talking about this because it's kind of embarrassing, but it is YouTube and I want to be real with you all, and I want you all to be real with me. First of all, I think I am putting unrealistic expectations on myself when it comes to filming, because in my head I'm like, and also I am diagnosed with OCD. I don't think I've talked about that really on the channel because, it doesn't matter, but I have a certain expectation that I want to hit before I film. Like, I feel this perfectionism, like I have to look a certain way, I have to be dressed a certain way, I have to have my nails done, my makeup done, like whatever. And I think it has been affecting YouTube, and I haven't posted because I've genuinely been busy, but sometimes I will sit down and be like, oh, like, I don't feel good enough, or I don't look good enough, or something just doesn't sound right tonight, or the dogs are barking or whatever. And so I feel like I have a perfectionism when it comes to filming, and I think that's really toxic because it's not about that. And I don't really know where I'm going with that. I guess I just wanted to be see-through when it comes to things that I'm struggling with as a content creator. And I know, like, that sounds so silly because I know you all, like, love me anyway, and I love you all. You all have been so amazing, and just, I am wowed by the support you all